just wanted to express my support for this project. Chevron's been a great corporate partner, and they've been very helpful in our nonprofit community throughout the city. And I'm excited about the jobs that this is going to bring to the city, and also the job retention aspect of it. And looking forward to having an urban campus downtown that will have amenities for our workers and the folks that are here. So I'm really excited about this project, and I encourage my colleagues to ask questions. But ultimately, I think this is going to be great for the city of Houston. I can see all the different construction jobs, and services, personal services, professional services that will accompany this, and I think we need to move forward as soon as possible. Thank you.
Councilmember Christie.
I'd just like to highlight an area that I love seeing our corporate partners give to the community for decades before they come and ask for our part in being in that partnership. 30,000 volunteer hours on 100 different projects, including staffing military, of course, and then the education involvement is crucial. But 100 different projects, so it's not like last year they decided to ask for something from us and then they rush in and help. They've been doing this for decades, and they deserve our help on this.
Councilmember Pennington.
Thank you, Mayor. I'd just like to agree with what the two council members have stated, that Chevron is a terrific company and it's a terrific local citizen and worldwide citizen. The question that I have, I think it's on page 3, we talked about a requirement that 1,752 jobs need to be created by 2020. I recall in your presentation you were talking about 800 new jobs. I just want to make sure there are no undue expectations here, that we got the numbers correct.
Sure. The 1,752 jobs, those are new jobs that are going to be created as a result of this project. 800 jobs were announced. In addition to the 1,752, 800 jobs were announced earlier this year. So the total
so that number is being met. Thank you very much.
Yes.
Councilmember Martin.
Yes, thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Glenn, for your comments. And I do believe Chevron is a great community partner for us. My question is why are we pulling it into the TERS, and why not just add the abatement through the operating fund? If it's going to cost us $270,000 a year in the year 2018, but we will lose, in essence, when you put money into the TERS, it takes money away from the general fund to the tune of $183 million spread over 30 years. So my question is, why don't we fund this through the operating fund? Because if we lose that revenue out of the general fund, we can't support other initiatives in other districts. So it seems to me that $270,000 is a very small amount to pay for this. So why are we going through the TERS to do this?
Why are we not going through the TERS?
No, you said we are. We're pulling this into the TERS.
No, sir.
I thought that was your opening comment.
No. This is a hearing for a reinvestment zone. Statute, Chapter 312 requires the creation of a tax abatement reinvestment zone. So that is a separate zone from the tax increment reinvestment zone.
Okay, so your comment earlier, maybe I misunderstood. I thought you were pulling it into the TERS and adding the abatement through the funding of the TERS. So can you explain what you just said, the abatement TERS zone? Because I don't quite understand that.
Before an ordinance can be submitted to council, there has to be an establishment and a designation of what's called a tax abatement reinvestment zone. That's statutorily required. And it creates the zone of the project site only. So 1600 Louisiana will comprise the zone. It's a requirement of Chapter 312.
So where will the tax revenue, the property tax increase of 183 that you mentioned over 30 years, where will that money flow?
It will flow to the general fund.
Thank you.
Which is what you wanted, Councilmember.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
But I didn't. But I was confused. The opening statement was it was pulled into the TERS, so I just didn't understand.
Sure. And there has been other questions regarding to distinguish between a tax increment reinvestment zone associated with a TERS versus the reinvestment zone requirement associated with the tax abatement. And the difference is that the site, the address itself makes up the zone.
Got it. Thank you.
You're welcome, sir.
Councilmember Brown.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning.
actually wanted to thank Chevron for their years of partnership and involvement in the community. It's much needed and greatly appreciated. And I wanted to encourage Chevron to, when we pass the tax abatement incentive, that when they do receive these tax dollars, that perhaps this is an additional incentive to go out there in the community and do more, because of course you're doing great, and we can always use more help for helping those in need and areas that need attention throughout the city. We have many areas that need attention. Or we can focus on downtown, fighting homelessness downtown. I know you're doing a really good job on that, but $2 or $3 million can go a long way in addressing our needs here. Many nonprofit organizations do a fabulous job. We have the Women's Home, the Mission of Yahweh, Gracewood, many organizations that can use additional dollars to continue to help solve the issue of homelessness and other issues. So thank you very much.
Mayor Pro Tem Gonzalez.
Thank you very much, Mayor. Thank you for the presentation, and appreciate all that Chevron does in the community. As I was looking at this, I know that unlike the 380, there's not a requirement for public infrastructure improvements. The criteria is basically based on job creation and capital improvements into the property. But I do think that when you look at our return on investment, if you will, that there is a possible relocation of a storm line. I think that's approximately $5 million estimate. Sidewalk improvements and landscapes, that's about $2 million worth of investment. And other utility, storm, sewage, and water utility work to support the project is also expected. So obviously those translate into additional investments into infrastructure and jobs and all the byproducts of that. Can you speak a little bit to the aesthetics of it? Because I think that one of the things that's important is, especially down along that corridor, is to try to increase more walkability into the area. I like to see the landscape and all that. I think those are positive features. Sidewalk improvements. Obviously, we wanted to see how we could just better improve some of those, walkability features. I know maybe you're not complete with design, and I know you can't obviously speak directly for Chevron's maybe design work, but have there been any conversations around that?
First of all, let me comment about the public infrastructure and public improvements. And you are correct in that the focus of the tax abatement, unlike the 380, is to focus on capital investment, job creation. But we still wanted to work with Chevron to assess the benefit outside of capital investment and job creation, which are the public improvements and the infrastructure and the public amenities. And so when you drive Louisiana, there are not many water feature spaces where the public can just go out during lunchtime and enjoy beautiful landscaping. And the company is expecting to invest more than $2 million to create something that is very aesthetically pleasing, where there'll be a lot of green space, the water features, stone benches, that is part of that landscaping design. There is a person here with Chevron, so if you do have specific questions about that particular piece of their project, somebody can speak to you directly about that.
Great, and those features, the water features, green space, all that's accessible to the general public.
It is completely accessible to the public.
And I think it's important to note, I think some of the jobs, 1,700 jobs approximately that could be impacted by this in terms of positive gain towards the city, that these are very high-paying jobs for over $100,000 average salary. They're obviously high-skilled, highly trained positions, and those jobs also create additional jobs out of the community as well, because every engineer also requires, obviously, will be supporting local restaurants, cleaners, gas stations, everything else. And I think it also creates many other jobs unrelated to just those hard 1,700 positions. And
Correct.
hopefully those individuals also buy homes here in our city, purchase cars and everything else that goes into supporting a local economy. So just wanted to touch base on that as well. But thank you for the presentation.
Sure. Vice Mayor Pro Tem Bradford.
Thank you, Mayor. Good morning. My comment is simply jobs, 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 and thank you, Chevron, for expanding facilities here in Houston, Harris County, Texas. And the message to the young professionals and students out there is there are opportunities for you today, and Chevron is exhausting efforts to ensure that if you prepare yourself with the proper education required, the proper skill sets, that there are opportunities for you in the future as a young professional and as a young student. So thanks to the city of Houston for making this happen. Thanks for Chevron for coming forward. Thanks for the public and business persons that are here to support this deal. I know we're not doing it today, but I think that laudatory comments are proper today. Chevron has stepped up for a number of years, been a real plain philanthropic benefactor, provider here in the community for a number of activities. I appreciate Chevron's support, particularly as it relates to the STEM program, because that is what it's going to take, I think, to keep Texas moving as it is so far. And as we move forward looking at job opportunities for young people, Chevron has done it in the past, and I'm absolutely certain they will continue to do it in the future. I just want to say thank you, and to the young people out here, meet the opportunity that Chevron is putting on the table for you as young professionals and students of the day. Thank you, Mr. Wilson. Thank you, Mayor.
Councilmember Green.
Thank you, Mayor. I just want to say thank you to Chevron for investing within the city of Houston. You know, there's we see the challenges that Detroit now is having because a lot of the investment has gone outside of the city as opposed to within the inner city. And I do commend Chevron for reinvesting, if you will, because you have a large investment, but reinvesting and growing that. And so as a city, I feel honored and pleased to have the opportunity to assist in any way, as much as we can to support companies that are building up the inner city. We need to do whatever we can. And so I appreciate the administration for working with Chevron to make this happen. And just for Chevron, I know you guys are big philanthropic players here in the city. We are having the summer jobs program, and we do have some kids that will be looking for jobs. So hopefully we can work with you to get maybe some of these kids an opportunity at Chevron in the summer. But we appreciate all that you guys are doing, and I look forward to supporting this project. Thank you.
Councilmember Evans.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I'd like to just thank the both of you for your presentation today and enlightening us. And also, I'd like to ask the Chevron personnel if you would stand so we can just recognize you, those who are here from Chevron today. If you would stand so we can just recognize you and thank you for coming down today as well. Thank you so much for your efforts for Houston. And also, just to piggyback off of what Councilmember Green said, which he has his passion about summer jobs, and I'm sure that you're all going to continue just to work with him as we continue to move this. But also is that I know that corporations, when they come into our city, that they're always giving them. I know you do the marathon, you do a lot of things that that help move Houston forward. But I would like to see also that we make an investment into our youth, like into our programs, our summer programs, like our after-school programs where grants can be provided, maybe to focus on those students, to focus on STEM. Like you have STEM summer camps or STEM after-school programs. So there can be a rollout to possible jobs, or the summer jobs that Councilmember Green is talking about, to possible rollout of jobs. So we love to see that investment, since everyone is talking about how STEM is moving Houston forward, or moving Houston's nation forward, period, that we just make that investment. But I look forward to supporting you in your efforts. Thank you for coming to my office and speaking with me and educating me. And I think this is a great thing for Houston as we continue to move. I look forward to the building in that space, so we can just continue just to highlight the city with beautiful architecture and structures. So again, congratulations on moving Houston forward and making our economy boom. And that's why people love Houston, and we're like the fourth, or unofficially, like we like to say, the third largest city. So again, congratulations, and thank you all for your continued support for Houston.